The story begins at a busy port in Hong Kong, where cranes were loading containers onto ships. These containers were being transported to different locations under tight security, and inside one of these containers, along with a massive pile of cash, was a man named Ivan Marquet. After passing a few security checks, he stepped out of the container. This container had been shipped from Spain to Hong Kong, carrying $8 million. Once the money was counted, Ivan was supposed to receive a 3% commission as a courier, which would amount to approximately $80 million. A few years earlier, Ivan was standing outside a grand hotel. At that time, he considered his father his hero and could never forget the day they had gone together to apply for a loan to open a wedding banquet hall. Initially, their business flourished, and their family was making a lot of money. However, due to an economic crisis in the country, his father's business collapsed. That was when Ivan made up his mind that he would never live in poverty. After the recession, his father would often sit in front of the TV, complaining all the time. This irritated Ivan, as he felt his father did nothing productive, just spent all day cursing the government. During this period, Ivan started working as a valet, but he was always looking for a business opportunity. Unlike his father, he did not believe in sticking to the system. One day, he shared his business plan with his friends. He wanted to buy a rundown apartment, renovate it, and sell it for a profit. However, his friends showed no interest in the idea, nor did they have money to invest. Ivan suggested taking a loan from the bank, but his friends just laughed at him. One day, while working as a valet, Ivan and his friends noticed a man named Mr. Larimer, who was a minister in the current government. However, at that moment, he was heavily intoxicated. Ivan offered to drive the man home, and he immediately agreed. Ivan was desperate to open his briefcase, and luckily, he got plenty of time to do so. When he saw the stacks of cash inside, he was astonished. Without thinking twice, he quickly took some money from the pile. A little later, when they reached the minister's house, Ivan met the woman whom the politician worked for. Ivan believed he could do a better job than that drug addict of a politician. He didn't care what kind of business they ran. He also revealed that the politician was stealing from them behind their backs. Since he had already taken some money, his words turned out to be true. Moreover, Mary, the woman, was impressed by Ivan's confidence. She then offered him 10,000 euros to make a delivery, and Ivan eagerly accepted. The next day, Ivan delivered a horse to a man named Francisco, who had bought it for his daughter Letitia's birthday. When questioned, Ivan told him that this was his first delivery for Mary. During their conversation, Ivan discovered that he and Francisco were from the same city. Francisco shared his story, how he once worked in a small photocopy shop but gradually rose to power by forming alliances with influential people. Ivan was supposed to deliver a briefcase full of cash from Francisco to Mary. However, this task was not as simple as it seemed. On the way, the police stopped Ivan, and within moments, they found the cash-filled briefcase. To save himself, Ivan lied, saying that he had just sold his house and the money was from that deal. However, the police officers easily caught his lie. Out of frustration, they slammed his head against the car. Seeing himself in trouble, Ivan confidently said, "I know your boss. Should I call him?" The moment he said this, the officers let him go. In reality, these police officers worked for Mary, and this was all part of her plan to test Ivan's loyalty. After completing the delivery, Ivan not only received his payment, but also got a bonus to buy himself some new clothes. Time passed, and Mary and Ivan grew closer. The next day, Ivan met Mary's husband, Francis, who was the son of a notorious diamond smuggler and was also involved in foreign currency trafficking. That day, Ivan's job was to act as a Belgian courier. Ivan was thrilled with his courier job. He was earning good money and driving luxurious cars. Francisco, also known as Paco, was responsible for laundering dirty money for his wealthy clients. Francis and Mary assisted him in this operation. He provided cash-filled briefcases to Ivan, which he had to transport to Belgium. One day, while Ivan was talking to Letitia, Paco saw them. He wasn't pleased with this and warned Ivan to stay away from Letitia. A few days later, Ivan met Mary at a restaurant, where she informed him that the risks in Belgium had increased significantly. Therefore, they had found a new partner in another city, Geneva. While they were talking, they noticed an unusual couple. Looking at them, Ivan joked, "How did that fool manage to get such a beautiful girl?" To this, Mary replied, "It's all because of what's inside his briefcase." Ivan still wanted to do business with Mary because he wanted to learn more about this entire operation. They then arrived at a building where they met Mr. Stoll, another business partner of Mary's. He had devised a perfect system for laundering black money and also took a 3% commission for his services. Later, while talking to his mother, Ivan saw the same man from the restaurant on TV. He also saw the man's wife on the screen and realized that he was having an affair with the woman from the restaurant. Ivan patiently waited for the man to return so he could install a hidden camera in his room and blackmail him. The man's name was Louis, and to break into his room, Ivan bribed a cleaner. However, unfortunately, the restaurant's security officer, Yannick, caught him red-handed. But in reality, Yannick was just as corrupt. He only wanted a share of Ivan's profit. After striking a deal, Yannick himself installed the cameras. The video evidence they obtained was enough to blackmail Louis. Ivan became convinced that Yannick could be a valuable partner because, in addition to being powerful, he was also highly intelligent. After completing their work, the two of them partied all night. Later, Ivan met with Mary and told her that his mother had been insisting on meeting him for a while. Without hesitation, Mary told him to take as many days off as he needed, as she believed that family was the most important thing. She also gifted him a watch, saying, "A person's watch and shoes reveal everything about them." Afterward, Ivan and Yannick met with Louis. They showed him the footage and told him that he had two choices: either go to the police and ruin his reputation or work with them. They wanted to transport money from Spain to Switzerland and also open a branch in Louis's city, for which they needed his help. Initially, Louis hesitated, but he had no choice but to accept all their conditions. They made a deal with Louis that in exchange for deleting the video, he would introduce them to the key people in the business. At first, Ivan had no idea that a special police unit was closely monitoring this event. This was when Head Inspector Roy first learned about Ivan. Soon, with Louis's support and backing, Ivan started meeting influential people and understanding how their business operated. Louis introduced Ivan as his trusted associate, which helped him gain their confidence. After this, Ivan met with Mary and told her about his new business venture. However, Mary was worried about one thing. Francisco would not be happy about this. He wouldn't like the idea of two new boys taking his clients, because if Ivan and Yannick weren't laundering black money, then Francisco would have been the one doing it. However, Ivan believed there was enough money in this business for everyone. He also promised not to steal Francisco's clients. After spending the night together, Ivan asked Mary to stay, but she refused, saying that she wanted to spend Christmas with her family. When Ivan came to Madrid to meet his family, he brought a lot of gifts for them. However, his father was not happy at all because he had no idea about Ivan's work. He kept asking Ivan about his job, and Ivan casually mentioned that he worked in import and export with some big people. But their conversation soon turned into an argument. After fighting with his father, Ivan went to meet his old friends and found out that they were now buying old flats, renovating them, and selling them at a profit. In short, they had stolen Ivan's business idea, which he had suggested to them years ago. Time passed, money started coming in, and Ivan's business flourished. During one such business meeting, he met Francisco and Leticia. Francisco was upset that Ivan was taking away his clients and even warned him about it. However, when Ivan continued to do so, Francisco sent some men to teach Ivan and Yannick a lesson. He only wanted to show them that they had no right to do business in his area. But instead of running away after the incident, Ivan decided to confront Francisco and assured him that he would not interfere with his clients. He even told Francisco, "Sir, since I am working in your area, take 30% of my profit." Hearing this, Francisco was very pleased. During this time, Ivan made a lot of money, which made him arrogant. When Mary pointed out his changing behavior, he got angry. He believed that the person bringing in the most money deserved respect. Mary also informed him that her husband had received news about an ongoing investigation against Francisco, so she advised Ivan to stay away from him. However, Ivan ignored her advice and planned to expand his business further. Sometime later, outside a party, Ivan noticed undercover police officers. He approached them and asked to be taken to their boss. The officers took him to the police station, where he met Inspector Manuel Roy, who was in charge of the investigation. Ivan told him, "I am fully ready to help the police. My boss is Francisco, and I give all my money to him. I will provide you with all the information about him." In return, he demanded complete safety and protection for himself. The reason Ivan had promised Francisco 30% of his profits was so that he could later trap him without raising suspicion. He needed evidence to prove that he had not informed the police about Francisco. To create an alibi, he took Leticia to Paris, where he fulfilled her every demand for a week. He pretended to be in love with her just to ensure that no one suspected him. This way, he could say, "I was out of town with my girlfriend. How would I know anything?" A few days later, when Leticia heard the news of her father's arrest on TV, she immediately prepared to return to Madrid. However, she had no idea that Ivan was responsible for her father's arrest. When Ivan returned to the city, Leticia caught him in bed with other women, making her realize that Ivan had faked his love for her. After Francisco was imprisoned, Ivan assured everyone that he would handle Francisco's clients until he was released. However, Mary and her husband found this to be a bad idea. They believed that since the police had information on Francisco's clients, Ivan might get caught while trying to take over his business. Ivan agreed with them and temporarily shut down his business. He spent all his remaining money partying in Madrid. When he ran out of money, he returned home, only to find out that his father had passed away and his mother was in desperate need of help. Even after returning home, he kept thinking about new business ideas. Eventually, he learned about the Chinese mafia. Ivan gathered information about Yao Ming from Louis. Ming was responsible for transferring black money from Spain to China, but he used old-fashioned methods and often got caught. Ivan then met Mary and discussed the possibility of making a deal with Yao Ming. However, the biggest challenge was that moving money in and out of Switzerland had become nearly impossible. On top of that, their clients demanded cash payments. Ivan had a solution for this. He suggested, "Let's transfer the money stuck in Switzerland to Yao's Chinese account. In return, Yao will give us cash in Spain." Both parties loved the idea and immediately agreed to it. As Mary and Ivan were celebrating their new deal, Francisco suddenly appeared at their table. After Leticia's betrayal, Francisco had discovered that Ivan was the one who had tipped off the police about him. However, he had bribed the judge and gotten his case dismissed. Now, he was determined to take revenge on Ivan. Meanwhile, they learned that a software engineer working for them had leaked a list of Swiss bank accounts. As a result, Stoll and Francisco took the remaining money and fled. Ivan and Mary immediately realized they were in big trouble because most of their clients were on that leaked list. The police were now after them, so they tried to escape. But suddenly, men from their Chinese client showed up and captured them. They were taken to Yao Ming, who was also in serious trouble because the police were after him as well. Ming suspected that Ivan had informed the police about him, so he wanted to kill both Ivan and Mary. Just as Yao was about to shoot Ivan quickly came up with a plan. He promised Yao that he would personally ensure his money reached its destination. He convinced Yao that he would hide inside a cash-filled container and transfer all of Yao's money from Spain to Hong Kong. This plan was highly risky, but it was the only way Ivan could survive. Additionally, if he successfully reached Hong Kong, Yao wouldn't have to worry about him talking to the police. As planned, Ivan safely arrived in Hong Kong and was thrilled that he had escaped. However, suddenly, police officers arrived and arrested him. He was then extradited back to Spain. Ivan now knew that his only hope was to get a good lawyer who could reduce his sentence. But his lawyer informed him that he was facing a minimum of 15 years in prison. Out of desperation, Ivan even tried to bribe a police inspector, but unfortunately for him, the officer was not corrupt. Later, Ivan found out that Mary had informed the police about him to save her own life, which led to his arrest in Hong Kong. Ivan understood why she had done it. In her position, he might have done the same thing. Eventually, Yao Ming was also captured by the police. In the end, Ivan was sent to prison. There, he finally realized that his father was right all along. In an interview, he admitted, "Money gets to people's heads, and the same thing happened to me." If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.